I'm Brandon, man, and I'm chatting with Stacks.
San Antonio is the baddest chapter in the nation.
Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Stacks. I'm your host, Bill Stacks, and today I got Loco. What's up, man?
What's going on, man?
Chilling. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. Got a good workout in, so started out pretty good.
Thank you for joining me. I appreciate you taking the time.
Not a problem.
So, where were you born and raised?
Houston, Texas.
And what was it like growing up in Houston?
Just a lot of, man, I really don't know how to answer that. Again, I try not to be, like a parrot and be repetitive for what I say, but I guess just plant work and good food, basically how I could really explain it.
How'd you get introduced to the motorcycle world?
Let's see here. So in my late teens, I lived in North Carolina. I started riding with a guy named Mike Weaver. He introduced me to, bikes in general. He was a bike mechanic. So I had this V-Star 650. It was really cool, man. Custom bobber. That's how I started. But then I started to hang out with some guys, some outlaws, and I found myself at bars and going here to there and just hanging out, really being a friend, not even a hang around. That's how I got introduced to it. But there was quite a few years in between to where I just rode by myself and did my own thing.
And when you were riding by yourself, were they asking you to join them and come around, or?
Not often. Definitely not the outlaws. They turned me down when I asked about it, and I really didn't ask again after that. But as far as red and gold and stuff down here, I had one support club stop me at a gas station and ask me if I had a Harley, and I said, well, I could get one. And I said, you don't have one? I said, no. And then the old man stopped talking to me, so I guess I didn't qualify at that time.
Because you didn't have a Harley?
Yeah, so it was a little weird.
Why do you think the outlaws turned you down?
I was a young kid, man. I think it was a maturity thing. And the gentleman that I was hanging out with cared about me. Me and his daughter were friends. Him and Mike were friends. So he just was looking out for me, bro. I was a really lost young man. So yeah, I wasn't ready for that. I don't think you could be ready for something like this in general. I probably would have most definitely ended up in a body bag for sure.
So how did it transpire into you being with the Bandidos?
Oh, well, I was with a motorcycle ministry trying to kind of straighten my life together. I figured I'd get with a group of guys to hold me accountable. Ended up not fitting in with those guys. To make a long story short, I went to a benefit for one of the fallen brothers at that time, and I was with the motorcycle ministry. And at that point, I started to really search out, that lifestyle, and ended up calling the president. He invited me out to ride. He couldn't end up riding with me, but he had passed my number along to somebody else, and I ended up getting a phone call. But at the time, I still do, but at that time, here in Houston, Beast had a specific area that they were in control of, and I had happened to live in that area, so there was very little footprint for bandits in my area at the time. So I guess hindsight's 2020. It was a smart move on their end to kind of find somebody that didn't really know much about what was going on and seeing if he stood. It's kind of crappy at the end of the day because my life wasn't really, it was just whatever. If thinking about, hey, they hang around, if he makes it, he makes it, if he don't, he don't. And a little credit to my boss at the time. He was like, hey, man, you're not going to get much slack. You know the rules. If you die as a hang around, you're not getting a bandit funeral. If you die as a prospect, you'll get your bandit funeral. So he was pretty blunt with me, but it took multiple events and some violence to happen before anything was actually just kind of. I had to keep pressing, like, hey, what's going on? And yeah, it was different. It was different.
So are the Beast and the Bandidos, are they enemies? Are they not cool? Like,
Yeah, it's pretty well known, bro. Beast is always been, not always been, from what I understand, because I wasn't there in the beginning, so I can't speak out of turn. But from what I understand, having friends in the Beast now, and then also old brothers of mine, we'd talk about it on the side. It was kind of a taboo subject, but some people, were just open about it if they were there. And a lot of the old schools told me, hey, those guys used to fold our T-shirts and this stuff. I don't know if they folded T-shirts, but our support club, maybe it could have been like a sly, comment, real slick, right? But at the end of the day, I believe the true story is, and I trust who I trust at this point, even though trust is not the biggest compliment to use for this kind of lifestyle. But I'd say they started out as really doing dirt, and they did the dirt. They did the main things for the bandits at one point in time. And I know people don't like to hear it, but it's the truth, I believe. And from things that I put together and the people I've talked to and the way things go, how strong they stood their ground at times. Not everybody, but at times, most of the time, if you encountered some on my end of the world here in Houston, they stood on business pretty well. And like I said, not a lot of guys really would admit that, but they're a lot stronger in this area than given credit. You don't see bandits out here much.
Before you're getting involved, are you getting in trouble? Are you going to jail and getting arrested?
Oh,
Like,
oh yeah. I was in and out of county, man. Just silly stuff, violence, and just dumb stuff, man. Um,
yeah.
just was a pretty lost person. I don't look at that as a badge of honor or anything to be excited about whatsoever.
I was the same way, man. I was searching for something. I kept getting in trouble in and out of prison for years and years. I didn't get my life together until like 6 years ago.
It's crazy because I've never spent time in prison. A lot of people have this thought process is, they think prison time and you're automatically some hard guys. Like I've had a lot of friends that did prison time for like money fraud and all kinds of stuff, and they're the softest, most like softest kitten paws, man. So when you take this idea of like everyone who's been to prison or everybody had to do time or not, man, there's some guys out there that are straight laced, go to work, go to church, that'll put them hands on you real quick.
Yeah. I mean, listen, the most softest person can go to prison and survive.
Yeah.
Like when you go to prison, there's cornballs in there, there's
Oh
janitors, there's every type of person in prison. Junkies, they're not all hardened criminals. It's not like that.
no, man. And the guys that I had, it was funny because I was surrounded for a while with, I don't want to speak out of turn, but I was surrounded by a lot of people who did a lot of time for a lot of bad things. And what most people don't understand is you can basically tell if somebody, it's a little psychology for you if you're interested, but you can tell if somebody's willing to do something crazy by the amount of time they've already spent. And you'll find the people that are more willing to rat or snitch because they're on their last strike. They have a wife and kids now. They've established family. They have a good job. Most of these guys come out of prison are making bank. They have a plant job. They do this and that. So people misconstrue the idea like those guys are doing big things. No, 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 no. It's the guys with no records that haven't been slapped on the wrist. It's the guys that are willing because they don't know the consequences for themselves. They see this guy that just came out of prison, not realizing that RICO has changed, that not realizing that censuses has changed with gang offenses. They're not understanding these things. So when you put two and two together, and if you're somewhat intelligent, you start to see the light. Unfortunately, it took me 3 years to recognize that. And I think I did. I think it was easy to ignore it based off of whatever hate I had in my body or, making things personal, pride. There's so many stupid reasons I did that.
So when you start hanging around with these guys, is that when you start seeing the violence? When you're just hanging around, or are you a prospect?
I got into my first fight as a hanger, and it moved me up pretty quick.
Can you walk me through it?
Well, yeah, it's pretty silly, but I laugh and people get on me like, you laugh, you don't regret that stuff. I laugh out of embarrassment. I laugh out of, so let's cut the chase on this. And I laugh because it's like, when you come out of this lifestyle, you don't really see yourself doing it anymore. You're like, man, what did I
What's I
do? So
thinking?
anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, I had a rabbit moment, but so I was at the Galveston rally and they invited me out there and I'm pumped, man. I'm like, let's go, And they debrief everybody. Hey, the island's ours. If Beast is around, you know what's up. Smash on sight. Don't let them guys walk around Galveston. It's a bad look. Yada yada yada. And they're like, hey man, you're a hang around. You don't get into bandit business. You let the one percenter stay one percenter. You're not a one percenter. They talk like that. But it motivated me to kind of like, oh, okay, bet you feel that way. You think it's because I'm a hang around, So I was already just motivated to find trouble, right? So I get out there and some support guys came up and was like, the hang around still over support. When you're official hang around, you're over support too. They kind of look at you as the big brother out here. And the support came up said, at that time, I think my nickname, I didn't even have a nickname, bro. And oh, Gundrop. Yeah. So at that time I was Gundrop. And he came up to me and said, Gundrop, we had some beasts walking around in the right in the middle, in the, what is that place called? It's just big, long in Galveston. But anyway, there's this long, kind of like Vegas. There's just this long strip of bikes come up and down it, and it's just main road. Probably 100,000 people there, and this isn't like a joke. This is like a lot, seas of people.
Yeah.
So I had a mentor of mine in the scene in my chapter. He was an old man, dude. He was like old. I'm talking 60s. And he's been a bandit for a while. And he was my VP at the time. And he was like, what's going on? And I said, well, these guys are saying that some beasts are walking around. Let's go handle it. And he's like, all right, that's cool. Let's go. He liked it. And this is an old dude, like old guy, bro. Wrinkles. I love this guy. I love him with all my heart, still to this day. But he goes, and one of the support guys that said no, he didn't want to go. He's a bandit now. So I said, all right, guys, y'all come with us. So it was going to be me, a patch holder, a hanger on patch holder, and two support guys. And one of the who's a bandit now said, no, 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 we're good, we're good. And I looked at him and I'm like, wait a second. I'm looking at the cookie. I'm like, all right, whatever. It says support the Bandidos. I'm like, man, hello support, right? So whatever. So he said, forget it. So me and this gentleman walked to a bar down. Uh, Again, I keep forgetting that little pathway they call it, but
The
down
strip. It's
on
like
the
a strip.
strip, the strip, the
Yeah, yeah.
strip, the
The
strip,
strip.
the
Yeah.
strip, down the strip, and goes to the bar, and we take a couple shots. He starts buying me Patron shots. It was beautiful, man. We were having a good time, had some lime. Patron shots were chatting it up with the bar ladies, and normally they'll go into a bar and sit around. So we just check out this bar, and we asked the waitress at the time or the bartender if she had seen anybody, and they said, well, they popped up in the back door and they just kind of walked in through here because police were in and out trying to make sure that there was no problem, so they would escort them off the island. Whether that's true or not, I'm not sure. But we're under as we were told, hey, we're gonna try and keep things down. And the cops were always like, hey man, y'all keep it down, y'all keep it down. There was communication there, but there wasn't like friendship. It was like, hey dude, let's start no problems. Don't start any problems. People are here to have a good time. It's a rally. So we're rocking down the strip, and all of a sudden we see a prospect and their president of one of their chapters. And my heart starts racing a little bit. I'm walking next to the patch holder, and I'm like, all right, so what do we do? Do we just, bum rush him and start smacking down? Do we do whatever? And he's like, all right, take it easy, take it easy. So we walk down, and we get like, they start to pass us, and we get within like punching distance. And I'm expecting the patch holder to just, my VP to just punch him, right? Because he's me mugging him, and they're me mugging us. Like, they're just walking. And the patch holder goes, and boom, like spits a loogie dog in the eye of the president. Right here, just talking about like let it fall down his face, bro. It was so gross. And I'm like taken by it. The prospect's taken by it. The president's taken by it, wipes his face, and he keeps walking, bro.
Wow.
Yeah, he just keeps walking. So we start walking, and I look at my VP, and I'm like, what the heck happened, bro? And he's like, I don't know. So we go in. He's like, let's just go get some cigarettes. And I look back at him. I said, hey, hey, bro, they're sitting at this pole right here with their backs up against the pole a couple blocks down. And I don't know if they made phone calls or anything. I can't tell you that. And he said, well, let's go back. So we doubled back. And as soon as we got to him, the president looked at me. I didn't even do anything. He, instead of hitting my VP, he straight crow hops me in the face for his for his sins. I'm
Yeah.
like, so he crow hops me in the face, and I start beating him down pretty bad, bro. I pick him up, throw him on the ground, and I get on top of him, and I'm ground and pounding this dude, and the crowd turns on us completely. Security, the crowd, everything turns off. My VP has the prospect by his shirt like this, and he's got his hands in the air, and he didn't want nothing. Like, he was one of those kind of guys that didn't want nothing to do with it. Country boy, just didn't understand the beef. Like, had no idea. He had his hands in the air, and I'm on top of his president, and all I hear is gun drop, we gotta go now. And my VP's hollering at me, and I'm screaming, and I'm freaking being dramatic and fighting. And so now the crowd's trying to pull me off of him, and everything else, security, and we take off down the seawall, or not the seawall, down the strip. And we there's like an alley, so we go to the next alley, and we have chapter booths there. And Fort Bend chapter, not Fort Bend, Battleground chapter was sitting at a booth. And Ray, rest in peace, one of the brothers who passed away on 45, he was like, hey man, what's going on? And I said, hey, I think I messed up. I beat up a beast. And he said, oh, okay, okay, okay. So he take your cut off. So he threw me in his car, and took me off the island. And it got super like intense. A couple groups of beasts came back and started uh, like harassing, I guess, other chapter booths and stuff, and nobody knows what's going on. My boss at the time got told, I don't know where my VP is. He left me straight up. I turn around and he's gone, like gone. And so I'm looking for whomever, and then that's when I ran up on Ray. And so he helped me get away. The next day we came back, and Nationals came into town, and the Nationals said, hey, who did this? So my boss got with me and said, hey, when you get before Nationals, let them know, don't make these little, because I'm a very, I use my hand movements. I'm very eccentric and excitable, and I'll get pumped up easy.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, don't do any of that. Everything you're doing right now, because I'm pumped, I'm like bragging and stuff. Everything you're doing right now, you need to stop. And he's like, you're going to talk to Nationals, and they're going to ask you some questions. So that's when I met my second boss at the time. I said, man, I think I'm in trouble. And he was from a different chapter, a little harder chapter. And he said, what happened, bro? And I said, well, this is what happened, yada, yada, yada. And he said, oh, no, you're not in trouble. Give me 1 second. So he walks up to our sergeant, our national sergeant, and he starts talking to him. There's multiple national sergeants at the table at on the Strand, at a bar that we go to. Now, out of respect to the bar, I won't mention the name, but it's a pretty famous bar that the bandits always go to. And they're sitting there at the table, and I'm a little nervous. My boss is kind of standing back, and uh, this other patch holder has brought me to him. And they said what happened. So I replayed the story, but I did exact opposite of what my boss had told me not to do. I'm like, hey, and this happened, and this happened, and this happened. And I could feel my boss just like beaming, dog. He's like, dude, you're an idiot. And then I started to give my opinion on what we should do. and this and that.
Oh,
Duh, bro. I'm like, hey, we can't let them treat us like that. They're on our island. I'm new, bro. So I was being a stupid kid, man. I was telling everybody what we should do and just kind of giving my little 30-second speech, man, to these nationals. And
he said, "I
eventually,
loved it. I love this kid." Right? That guy. Yeah.
yeah, I got a lot of love, man. So the national sergeant walked up to my boss and said, "Hey, prospector." And at that time, I was like 50 days as a hang around.
So
And
as you're a hang around, you're wearing a cut. Is it a you're wearing a cut?
a cut with a bar and shield that says, support your local bandidos. But it's in the bandito colors, not support colors.
Oh, so you're above a support club member.
Anything hang arounds are above support. Prospects are above. Same thing. You still as a hang around, you don't. It's not like you get. I mean, I never tried to wait, like run around trying to act tough. Anyways, I was just down, excitable. Happy to be there. Kind of situation. And I was nice to everybody, like nice to all the support clubs, which worked out later on as I became a bandit. And even through my prospect period, support clubs were willing to help me. Really cool guys. A lot of support guys I hung out with more than my actual brothers because they were so just there was no pressure. It was
Yeah,
like, yeah, and they'd come to my house and come over and eat. Like I'd have a bunch of support guys in the yard with a bunch of bikes, and we just had fun. We went places together, and I can't tell you how many times I had a good experience with support guys outside of, you know, and not even just doing bike stuff, just coming over and hanging out, man. Families doing different holidays, and it was fun, man. I have a guitar at my house full of bandits, and I have another guitar full of signatures of everyone who came to my house. I'd say, here's a permanent marquee. I want you, marker. I want a marquee.
Sharpie.
Sharpie, marquee, Sharpie. God. So they had a permanent Sharpie, and I'd say, hey, sign your name. So I have a guitar full of bandits that's signed all over it. Then I had a separate one for support because some bandits didn't like that. It was like, hey, that's not. So it was. I had two guitars that are just hanging on the wall, full of memories and stuff. So,
That's
um,
cool.
yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool.
So what happens when they give you this? You're a prospect. What's that feeling like
It
when they
sucked,
give you the
bro. It's
prospect?
not fun at all. Yeah, everybody who says it was such a great experience, yeah, it was horrible. If you, I tell people, if you prospect the right way, it was miserable. That you could turn your phone off and make an excuse. I was at work or I did this and that, but everywhere, anytime, any place, I really sacrificed a lot, and I stupidly, is that a word? Stupidly,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, stupidly sacrificed my time for my family to go tend to, man babies. They couldn't run their own errands, and they had to, oh, I can paint my house by myself, or just stupid stuff, man. It wasn't about being a brother. It was about people being lazy, and they wanted a little slave. It's not about earning no. People say, oh man, it's showing that you're a brother and that you're a good brother. No, it's not. It's the same guys calling you for the submissions, dog. Like, it's the same people. Hey man, can you come help me? It's you fulfilling their duties that they have as a secretary or whatever, and they got to catch up because they're slacking in their own stuff. So they're gonna call you over, and again, it's the same three or four bandits that are calling you over for missions constantly. It's just constantly, and you're at their beck and call. And if you say no, you get dotted. So I mean,
What's that mean?
how
Getting
could I have
dotted.
respect? How would you expect me to have respect for something like that? Especially after you step out of it and you look, but you get punched in the face. Where I say we, but not anymore. We were a black eye club. So I'm not sure if anybody else in the 1% world can relate, but um, you were disciplined by your own. You get dotted. You get
Can
punched.
as a prospect, can you fight a full patch member?
Are you kidding?
In the
Hell
Hell's
no.
Angels, you can.
Ain't none of that. You fight a full patch member, you're lucky that you make it out of there without something bad happened to you. And people say, "Oh, that's exaggerating. I've never seen that, bro." Some of these guys end up permanently messed up.
So you got to just let them punch you in your face and not do anything.
Yes, sir.
Wow. I don't know if I'd be
Somebody
able
in
to
the
do that.
comments tell me I'm lying.
I mean, I
Please.
was involved in a street gang, right? And we used to have something called a bounce. If you did something, you caused an infraction, you used to have to put your arms against the wall and get beat on. And
Yes. Yeah, it's really I got to learn how to forgive, and I hold a lot of bitterness because like I've told people before, if imagine knowing that you can destroy somebody that's punching you in the face, and you got to let them do that. Imagine knowing that you can destroy somebody that's punching you in the face, and you got to let them do that.
no,
I mean,
I
and we're
don't
not
think I
talking
can.
for some, we're not talking for some, reason that is honorable. We're talking about a dishonor. Let me dishonor you in front of dude. There's guys that got jumped, stomped, and put back to prospect, and then we're calling them brother in 6 more months. Like, bro, do you know that you not only did you create the worst memory and betrayal in this man's mind? Like I said, man, if you think that guy gets pinched doing some dirt and he don't remember that, you're tripping. You're tripping. Oh, well, that's not loyalty. That's not. Was it loyalty when you were kicking this man in his face? Took his bike, took everything from him, took his patches, what he earned. It didn't matter if he could have did some real dirt. It didn't matter. That didn't mean you were
Wow.
bulletproof. One of our dead brothers, Tigger, he got dotted more than anybody in the club, and he's got 3 bodies underneath him. He's dead.
Walk me through someone getting punched in the face.
Well, I can walk you through my experience.
Yeah, let me
I
hear.
mean, I can't
Let me
really walk
hear.
you through anybody else's. So I had a big dumb sergeant. This dude was like extremely stupid, and he was extremely just like he was soft as kitten paws, dog. No scary in him whatsoever. The dude was a straight up punk, and he had this mean persona everywhere he went. He was always and he took the stuff too seriously, bro. Way too seriously. Like everywhere, it didn't matter. We were at Walmart, we could be checking out, and just me mugging everybody. That kind of cat. And I'm like, anyway. So he held his title. He was the sergeant. He held his title over everybody's heads, at least in the chapter. He'd throw temper tantrums and cry and moan and complain when his bike would break down because he'd never buy a dang new bike. He always would be. He's one of them cats that, oh yeah, I just gotta fix it. He'd spend money on stupid crap and always needing cash. Just like there's so many complaints I had about this dude. When he actually had to hit me, it was that much more embarrassing for me. Like it was that much more. All that compiled up. So one day I called one of the presidents, his daddy, one of the presidents of one of the a notorious chapter. His dad was a federal informant. So when that news got told to me by a national that I became friends with that left the club, I called one of my brothers and I was like, "Hey man, we got to stop talking to this cat. His daddy was an informant." And I'm like, he's like, "Oh, for real? Who'd you hear that from?" And I'm like, our, our ex national, because he was my neighbor. We were like physical neighbors, and we were close. He was like, "All right, well, I want to talk to him too." So I got them in or I kind of got them in contact. And um, what I didn't know that guy that I had told that to, I went and told on me. So my own people kind of snitched on me the month. You do things to get a little higher up, and he did me dirty, bro. And it came out, and I called that president like a man, and I was like, "Hey, man, I ain't gonna lie, I got a lot to lose. Are you an informant?" I just straight up called him like that, and he smiled. He was on Facetime, and he smiled and said, "No, man, we're gonna figure this out." So I get a phone call saying, "Hey, man, don't show up to this card game. You're gonna get beat down." And I was like, "What? I'm a full patch member." He said, "Don't come on. I'm full patch, full
But
patch."
now, as a full patch, can you fight a full patch member?
That's getting not a president, big dog. Not a president. That's not an offer that was given. You don't just go offering. Imagine you say, "Hey, well, can I fight you?" And they say no. You see how things can kind of escalate from there.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And he had like a cult following too. His chapter was not only his chapter, but most of the nation is real. They're on his balls like a lot. He's like the savior. Makes sense,
So that
you know?
that matters. The popularity and the person
Yeah,
matter.
yeah. So we end up getting there. They take it was like a court. It was at a small court to the side of the bar in downtown Houston, and they take me over there, and it was kind of like everybody's nervous for you, especially people that care about you, because you have to see this a lot. And so when you see somebody you care about kind of get ushered around the corner into a dark spot, and a bunch of sergeants and people that are notorious for handing out punishments get to have their fun for the week. So I go in there and I stand up straight. My boss is there. He threw me straight under the bus. My boss, he's the one who told me not to, like, people are telling me not to show up. Like they're gonna take your stuff, they're gonna leave you with bike lists. And I'm like, all right, whatever, man. I'm just gonna man up to it. The guy who told on me didn't even show up to the card game. Yeah, didn't even
So,
show up.
but what about the guy who told you this information? What
He
happened
was
to
my
him?
boss. Oh yeah, he's been out the club. No, he was
Oh,
already out
so
the
he
club.
wasn't in the club. He was out
No,
already.
yeah, he wasn't. He was out already, but that was a national. So when it comes from somebody of that reputation, you go, man, hold up. Your heart kind of skips a beat, right?
Yeah.
So so I get pulled around back, and he had his sergeant, his favorite butt buddy or whatever, next to him, and he was like, "Hey man, so I hear this, this, and this, and we've already talked on FaceTime. Things changed quick. His tune changed, motives changed, and it was like, oh, you just wanted to get me here. Cool, bet." And I said, absolutely. So and so told me this, and this in front of everybody, just like, and so it got super awkward for a second. And he's like, you know, this is going to be really bad for you. I was going to drag you through the street, which he couldn't have done it on his own, but all those guys could have very much did it. But I was going to drag you through the street and embarrass you. But because I respect you, I'm going to let your boss figure out what he wants to do with you. And my boss, being the pansy that he was like, you put me in a bad spot, man. And I was like, do whatever you got to do. I'm pissed, bro. I'm embarrassed, pissed, shook up. So the punishment was handed down. He said, hey, we're going to just appease them. You're just going to have to take a dot. Well, I'm like, all right, cool. All right. My sergeant comes over. We go behind the dumpster. Everybody's still watching. I have to get my punishment. We go behind a dumpster so the camera doesn't catch it, like a brick wall dumpster area where the cars were parked. And he's looking at me and, all right, you ready? You ready? Don't move. Don't move. I'm like, shut up and just hit me. We're brothers at this time, right? Shut up and just hit me. So he cocks back and he punched me in the face. He looks at me. He's like, it didn't black. So it's got to be a visible black eye. So I'm like, dude, I'm covered in blue. Like, you ain't blacking me. It's already blue, you idiot. And I said, just do it again. Do it again. So he had to keep punching me until it blacked. And then I
How many
looked at my
times
boss
he hit you? How many
just
times?
twice, just
Yeah.
twice. And
Yeah.
he said, which was awesome because one of my brothers I love very much. I watched him get smashed, bro. Oh my God, relentlessly by his essay, and it was they had a beef with each other. He was still a prospect, and it was brutal, bro. I mean, we're talking like, you ever seen a Pumpkinhead?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
was
It was.
that over? What was that for?
He had a beef with him. He just had a beef with him. He didn't like him. Yeah. But anyways, I pray that guy gets out. He's definitely being screwed over. But anyways, so so he he got his black eye or whatever, and I told the chapter that he hit like he hit like a girl and this and that. So they were talking about taking my patches and all this other stuff. So compiling the problems, reprospecting me, and I'm just trying to keep my manhood intact. Like, what else you want me to do? Cry?
Yeah.
You
What
want
are
me
you
to?
thinking at this point? Are you thinking if they take my patches, fuck this? Like,
I'm thinking, to say that you don't think violence towards your brother when something that like that happens is a lie. You think really bad things. You think really bad things, and at the end of the day, making sure this thing's charged. Hold up. You think really, really bad things, and I had already told my wife, well, she was a PBOL at the time, and I told her, I said, baby, we had our things set up to where if things went south and my bike was taken, that hey, this is where I'm at, this is where I'm going. Hey, just this was the last place you seen me. Just covering your. But the place that they had the card game was so public, it would have been hard for anything like putting me in the grave would have been. And it wasn't even to that point. It was just like, hey, we're gonna teach him a lesson, kind of thing. And so I was spared at that moment, which I'm thankful for, because things could have been really bad for me, and we wouldn't have be talking the same way. So something drastic would have happened. But there had been multiple occasions like this that happened in the past that would drive people to the beast, you know. And a lot of cats, they don't understand the reality of it, and they think, oh, this is a fairy tale, this, that, and the other. I mean, whatever, whatever. I
Doesn't
mean,
sound like one to me.
if you want to experience it for yourself, go. Yeah, I mean, this is the problem. Like most of these people that have these comments that are sideways, all they're gonna have to do is meet these guys one time and realize they're garbage. One time, because most of these cats swing their thing around, acting like the cock of the walk anyway. So it's gonna turn off 99.9% of people first day. So just to get past this point, then to get hit, and then to be a bandit and still get hit. I don't know how many brothers that I seen that were 10 years plus in the club be a prospect all over again.
Then you just take their
Presidents.
patch and make them a
They take
prop.
all their patches back, make them prospect again.
Who will do that? The whole
And then
club as a whole?
they'll make their new patches their president. So it's about an embarrassing thing. It's a slavery type of slavery. It's constant embarrassment. It's constant uh disrespect. It's degrading, man, and it makes you feel like, well, how do you keep a slave a slave? It's like if this gorilla knew, right, that he could get out of this enclosement, like you put him in this barbed wire fence, and all he sees is this fence. He doesn't realize he can get out because I'm gonna prod him. I'm gonna every time he does something wrong, I'm gonna slap his hand. Whatever the zookeepers do to keep them things thinking that they can't get out, whatever they're in. That's the same kind of concept with these clubs.
Yeah.
We're gonna do this. You're threatened. You're this. You're that. You're this. You're that. And then on top of that, you have people that have done dirt. People know too much. People this. You gotta hold this over their head. They've maybe done stuff they don't want their wife to find out. They've this and that. Whether it's bribery or it's all around just disrespectful. And it's not a brotherhood. I know that there's elements to this lifestyle that can seem brotherly, but at the end of the day, it really isn't what it's shown to be. I don't care what 1% club you're in. And I talk to Vagos, I talk to Hells Angels, I talk to Outlaws, I talk to HAs, I talk to everybody now, And a lot of the guys that are still in the clubs say the same things are happening where they're at. And they have not left yet. Imagine that. Knowing everything I'm telling you, saying, hey, bro, I understand. This is what I've been through too, and relating to that and still being stuck in a mindset to where you can't leave.
Like you're trapped. Like you were in
Fascinating.
the club when you did your first interview, right?
I was 30 days out the club.
So you were fresh. You were
30,
fresh
a
out the
month and a
club.
half. Yeah, something like that.
When you're prospecting, are there other signs that things aren't going to be what they're cracked up to be? Like,
The whole time you go,
are they
yeah.
being disrespectful to you while you're prospecting too?
Yeah, bro. Yeah. Yeah. It's like an extreme, it's a violent type of hazing. If I can, it's like this college frat hazing turned up to this really weird cynical level, to where you're constantly being degraded and humiliated. My former club, the way they used to put due process prospects, and a lot of people don't know this, but maybe you can understand where these morons are coming from, is they used to all take a big shit in these buckets, in these big tubs, water trough tubs, and every member, full patch member, would piss and shit inside these tubs, and in order to patch in, you have to be submerged inside the member's shit and piss. And That's what people say legacy. Oh, you're ruining the legacy. You're trying to defame the legacy. I mean, let's talk about what legacy we're talking about here. You submerged your own family and your friends supposedly in piss and shit so that you can earn the patch that'll never jump off its back to help you in a fight. I've never seen that fat Mexican help me at all. It didn't jump. Man, this got a sword and a gun back there, and it didn't do shit for me. Excuse my French, but this is where we're at. Because I've dealt with a lot of ignorant people over the last few months when it comes to Sosa's interview and everything else. They want to be bad. They want to be this. 90% of the people that are probably going to comment that were my brothers at one point, they're not about none of that business. None of it. Their only claim to fame is what they're about to do in these comments. Their only claim to fame is the TikTok accounts and Instagram accounts when they're like, always riding, never hiding. You were never riding. You were never about that business, bro. You were
I think
never about that business.
it's a reputation thing.
Of
You
what?
know,
Who
it's
cares now?
perspective. It's perspective on what other people think it is,
Yeah,
but you know the truth. You
yeah.
know,
Me and them. Me and them know the truth. Me and them know the truth. I rode all this entire United States on my motorcycle by myself. Because guess what? When you call a brother, your brother, to come ride with you, oh man, I gotta shut your mouth.
yeah.
And I
What
didn't.
other type of treachery have you seen being in this club? Like, has there been times when you needed people and you were involved with something and they
Oh
didn't show
yeah,
up? Like,
man. Look. I know what you're alluding to, but yeah, man. So uh, me and Mikey Cup had an issue at Harley Davidson, and he didn't cause the issue. Mikey is the founder of Beast, right? And he didn't have an issue when I walked in. I had the issue. I wanted to make a scene. I wanted to beat him up and get mine, right? And embarrass him because there was a story that I was told that Mikey walked in on our national president at a Harley. And you can look it up for yourselves if people could do their own research. And that president of our club or VP or whomever caught P and ran out the back door. Yeah, they pulled up on him, said, "Hey, we're fighting one on one. Mikey did this, and this is verifiable from brothers all over the place." And our guy caught P and ran out the back from Mikey. That's just the truth. So I was told this from hang around on up. So whenever I had my chance, I wasn't leaving. You could
yeah,
have me.
yeah, I'm gonna fix this, right?
I was trying to fix this. I was trying to make myself known. I was being ignorant and stupid. Nothing that I suggest for anybody to do. I was being a fool. Why would I? Please don't get me started on why would I lose my life for such a irrational, ridiculous lifestyle that makes zero sense and benefits zero people on the planet. There is no benefit to these kind of lifestyles. I don't care what gang you're in. There's nothing you can tell me that's gonna make me believe that it's worth it. Make sense?
100%.
So I go inside, and Mikey's with two people. He was with a patch holder and I believe a prospect. I'm not sure. Patch holder for sure. They're in their cuts. And Mikey, on his cut, I noticed it said chaplain. Like it says chaplain on it, you know? And I'm like, this guy's the national, president, founder. It says chaplain. And he had just got released from prison not too long ago. So when I got in there and the Harley guy was telling me not to come in, and I was like, no. I got on my bike, got off my bike, ran into the store. So I beelined it to him, and they went, and Harley started hollering at me, you know. And if they don't, no one believes it. Call Harley. You know what I mean? Call Mikey. Call him. Ask him, hey, this little dude. Call the feds. Everybody knows about it. So it was stupid. It was so everybody knows about it, and everybody was there except my brothers. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, the only person that was with me was a brother I prospected with. And he stood on business right there next to me when he showed up. And he showed up after the fact. Prospect.
Oh, so it
Oh,
already
this was my
what?
brother of all brothers. And a support guy just so happened to be in the other room when Mikey was making a phone call to all his guys. His guys did show up, but in Mikey's defense, he came up to shake my hand. He wanted to shake my hand and be cool. And like, if you don't call, I won't call. To my defense, he had already called. That was the only say. I'm giving this cat props, but he said, "Hey, if you don't call, I don't call." I
But he
believe
already called. But he already called.
I believe he already called because those guys showed up like really quick. So it just didn't add up. I can't call him a liar, but I will say I get a lot like he was the bigger man. I'm like, man, y'all don't know this guy. He's smart. This is
Maybe he had that alert button. Like,
farts. Fights aren't fair in the in the underworld.
no.
You don't give yourself up like that. But I had made my phone call, but I'm pacing back and forth. People are coming in. Other patch holders, other support clubs are coming in to help them.
So what
And
happens when they come in? What happens with you? What do you do?
I'm going back and forth, talking smack. I'm waiting. I only had a revolver on me at the time, so he had already left. I'm cussing him. I'm cussing him. Um, he's standing there just looking at me like I'm dumb. And he's hollering, I already did time for this because I'm screaming, you killed my brothers. And I said, don't come. You come. I told him, don't come close because that three guys at first. I said, don't come close to me, Mikey. Better stay the F back, this, that, and the other. Yep. The only advice I got from my club was make sure if you got to shoot somebody, the cameras can see you. So, but
What?
if I see if I would have shot him like an idiot, we both know they'd have just killed me. I mean,
100%. Yeah.
you had all these dudes in here. What am I gonna do? All right, we're going together. I don't want to die with you. But what do you do in that position? For number one, I put myself in that position. Number two, I realized a lot that day. Number three, dude, I had brothers that were like, I said, where the F were you? That were in my area. Man, we were on the bridge. I had a sniper rifle. I was looking. I was waiting. No, you weren't. What is this? Like, am I talking to my grandpa with these tall tales right now? On the bridge? What do you eat? Oh, the overpass, you mean? The little overpass with a sniper rifle? Man, you're an idiot if you think I believe that crap. Absolute stupidity. And the support guy there, I said, you got anything on you? No, no. But he stood, it was just me, a prospect, which was my best friend, and a support guy. And that they we just the support guy's still in. My old friend, he's still in. The one I was telling Sosa gave me the boots.
Mm-hmm.
That dude showed up. We got into so much together, bro. You would not believe the first time we ever had any issues when it was relating to shootings and stuff like that. He was there with me. He wouldn't leave me. He would not leave my side on bikes. Uh, it was very intense. He would not leave my side, man. I love him too much to say his name, but I miss you if you're listening, brother.
Yeah, he knows you're talking about him,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah. Everybody does. I promise you that.
So
We were inseparable, bro.
I've heard you in other interviews talk about a lot of your brothers were getting killed throughout this time from you prospecting, throughout getting your patch. How did those transpire? What was it like the first time something like that happens?
The first time was three people in one hour. So I don't. It was all the guy Ray that I told you picked me up when I got into the fight in Galveston. He died in the same hour. Andy died that same hour, and Tigger died that same hour. And I got sent to the scene to take the bike from the scene so that the feds couldn't recover it. So my club threw me into everything. I was on a bike while things were just going nuts. While I was on a shot up bike with cats shooting people up on that highway, trying to run from the scene just to make sure a national was bikes wasn't going to be towed.
Wow.
Yeah,
So they were on their
I'm
bikes and they
grieving.
got
I'm grieving and doing things for these morons. And
so they,
after this is the crazy one of the national. So the Tigger gave his life to save our national sergeant. Tigger gave his life. Please put this out there, bro. Tigger died He took all the bullets from my national, all of them. And I went to my national's house. I took the bike from the scene and brought the bike back to my national. He died for you. You ran. I found that bike 2 blocks down the road from my dead brother's body. And when I got to your house, you told me yourself, don't ever think you can win when there's a car behind you shooting at you. Run. You told me that. You told me that. You know who you are. You a punk. Tigger died in vain. Tigger died in vain. Yes, sir. And took every single bullet for that national. Every single bullet. This is what I mean, bro. This isn't a love thing. This is you love, you get taken from you. You give, and more has been taken from you. Up until your actual life is taken, and then you have jokes and everything else. Everybody will tell stories about you. And he just had a daughter. He just had a daughter. He just had a daughter. I just had an opportunity to talk to him about Jesus. And all this big Santa Muerte thing is big in that culture. I don't get down with that, bro. You want to die? You want to die? You worship in death, but you don't want to die? I don't understand how this makes sense. You all are tough. My brother wasn't tough when he was dying. He was crying out, bro. He wanted help. He called his chapter boss, who ended up being my boss, on the phone on the middle of the highway. He lived for multiple hours afterwards, after the surgery. So many rounds in his back for a brother that left him there to die and never to see him again. And then left and was at a funeral, had his feet up on a fire, laughing and telling stories. I was there, brother. I was there in his face. This national straight up told me, hey, man, look at my heel. You see a bullet graze my heel? There wasn't no damn bullet in your heel, boy. One bullet hit his exhaust pipe. One bullet hit his exhaust pipe, bro. I rode that bike twice. Ain't nothing wrong with that bike. My other brother's body is riddled with bullets. Let's be real. And the story he told me straight up, bro, was, oh, well, the homies, first it was the homies, and then it was the beast. The homies did this, the beast did this, the homies did that. Oh, get your story straight. You're national, so you ain't really about to tell the truth to me. But the supposed Tigger went back and seen the car, because when you're with a national, with your boss, if a car pulls up, rolls down the windows, you go back and your boss gets away. But bro, most of the time, you ain't got a boss that caught pee like that. People want to argue and hey man, that's not true. That's not true. It's true. And that man was stripped of his national ribbon. He was no longer national after that because a certain chapter who I don't agree with, but they had all the legs to stand on this situation. They're used as cannon fodder, so they use other people as cannon fodder. That's the truth. People don't like that. The truth is very unpopular. Then I'll be unpopular. Because I was there. 3 of our brothers, I was texting my dead brother as he was dying. I was texting my dead brother, as one dead brother's right here. I was texting another brother that, hey, bro, they're coming. He's dying. And then the brother next to him dies. All in the same day, and I'm a prospect. And, oh, you want to be this tough guy and live this life. Half of y'all 1%ers that's been in this thing for 10 years ain't even seen a quarter of that. You ain't seen none of it. Let's be real. Not all of you could have been in some serious stuff because you're all free. Either that or you're a snitch. Pick one. You ain't all been in shootouts. You ain't all been in this whole lifestyle. Y'all are liars and fakes and phonies. I promise you that.
Or they don't ride.
They don't ride. They don't rep their clothes. Half these cats don't. Man, bro, I was glint, bro. I looked like a dork with all the red and gold crap. I had red and gold on my nutsack, man. I was running around with red and gold tassels, red and gold this, red and gold that, looking like some dang cheerleader. And then you got these old school cats talking about, man, it ain't wise. Well, then why do you do it? If that ain't wise, the whole thing is stupid. If that's not wise, you want to be smart, but you're still dumb? How is that possible? You got to know when to do this and know when. Bro, then half of the time you're a bandit, and then half the time you're a punk. All right, cool. I'll take punk. You're not my brother no more. Leave me alone. Don't give me advice. How about we quit together? If you want to be smart, let's talk about smart. Smart's leaving. Oh man, he did this the wrong way. Well, do what? All of it's wrong. What legacy are you leaving? What legacy are you actually leaving with this lifestyle? The truth hurts. You're wasting your time, your resources, everything, and then you're going to end up either in jail or like our brother, dead, and gets no respects after that. Brother, I had a president, Chepo. Chepo, you a punk. Chepo was banging his wife months after he died. The president of Baytown chapter was smacking cheeks on our dead brother's wife. Yeah, this is brotherhood. This is brotherhood. We got whole countries, whole states burning. We got people, we got real problems to take care of, and we're over here dying because of stupid colors. Man, piss on your colors. You wouldn't have done nothing for my family if I'd have died. Y'all all expected me to die. Y'all all expected that I'd be dead already. Let's be real, Stacks. Really?
Sounds like it. Sounds
Right?
like it. Yeah.
Right? And then the same people that I loved, let's get to this point. Forgive me for taking over for 1 second, bro. But
You take as much time as you need, man.
Let's get to this point, bro. So after I decide to leave the club, how come my enemies are gonna tell me, we've had your address for this long? We had it from this person, and they've been talking to us for this long. We've been buddies for all this information. Well, show me. Okay, here's the proof.
Wait, your enemies show you proof?
And then I call and confront my national my national sergeant at arms. The moment that happened, and said, "Hey," cursing, throwing profanities at him, mad. "Hey, you piece of baba baba! I gave my life for this. How in the blank? Hey, brother, I'm quit already. Calm down, brother. We'll get this straightened out. Just meet me here." Nah, homie, I'm not meeting you nowhere. Brother, just meet me. Man, I love this club so much. Yada yada yada. No, bro, and we talked for days and days. They had a national meeting. Come down to Houston. Don't let them fools lie to you guys. If you're abandoned, you're watching. I tried to make peace. I was talking to the Nationals for Beast and talking to the Nationals for Bandidos, and I tried to make a peace treaty after I left. Not wanting to be back in this bull crap. Still tried to make peace. Because how come and I gave up the names, and the Beast gave up the names of the people that was talking to them. Superman. What's up? Mexican Bear. Tough Guy Bear. Having communications with people on the side. You a liar and a phony, bro. Whiplash. My boss. All the time, bro. I was getting forwarded his message as he was in real life messaging these guys. And then I'm sending all this to my nationals, all swept under the rug. Yeah, dog. And you wonder why I'm mad. You wonder why I decided to go on SOS. Oh, this will all die down. No. And there's people right now snitching on every single one of them. Every single one of them. And it's all coming out because people are getting picked up all over the place. They're getting picked up all over Houston. And guess what? Your boy didn't do it. You got your own problems over there, big dog. I tried to tell you guys. You bunch of dorks. to leave the stupid lifestyle, save what and salvage what you can with your life, and give this stupidity up. If you don't want to come to Jesus, you don't have to, bro. This is a choice. I'm not going to preach to you. Let me be real with you. Even if you don't change your life and go to Christ, you still got consequences here on earth that you got to face. That's it. All this, I'm tired of trying to be sweet about this. The reality is if you're in this lifestyle, you think you're going to keep doing the same things and it not be tragedy at the end of the day. All for what? What clout do you get? Half the girls that like these bikers or this lifestyle been ran through by everybody and their mama. Why? This ain't like some new thing. You ain't Sons of Anarchy. That's an actor. That's an actor with millions of dollars. That's what they want. They don't want you, homie. You can't even pay your bike note. That's the truth. Bro, forget these mugs, man.
How did you even
Mugs.
end up getting in communication with the people?
I called the tattoo shop that the wife had worked at because for whatever reason, I found myself knowing a lot about this gentleman, and it was my job to make sure this gentleman's life was just horrible, right? And he knew me very well. I knew him very well, and I knew what was going to happen to him pretty soon, and what could have happened to him many times before that. So I gave him information about himself, and he listened, and I love that brother with all my heart, and I forgive him, and I'm glad he's still alive, and he just quit the club 2 or 3 days ago.
Wow. So he was on the other side, and you guys were like head to head.
Very much so.
It was one of you guys were going to end up dead.
Very much so.
Or both of you.
Probably. If it wasn't somebody, it'd be somebody right after me. And he ended up, I ended up telling him a place that was going to get him in trouble, and that place ended up getting shot up that next couple days later, and we ended up continuing talking then 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 on.
Because you seen you were real.
Well, at first we were very standoffish. We still are. I mean, we communicate on a regular basis, but we're very standoffish. We haven't met in person yet. Yeah,
You
it's
still
hard, man. I've
still
been
leery,
invited.
right?
I've been invited out there, and I don't want nothing to do with the lifestyle. I'm not talking like this and then gonna go jump into something else. It's stupid.
No.
Um, it's I get invited out there to go hang out with him. I said, man, brother, look, uh, why don't we do this? And he's like, bro, I trust you, and it's always that I trust you, just to see, just to see. And like, but I respect that. We'll keep that respect level to one another. But I love him very much. I care about him, and I mean no harm to him. So in his time, when he's ready, and when I'm ready for that matter, and on our both of our comfortable playing fields, maybe one day we can come together, and show what true brotherhood looks like. Looking past our differences, looking past the dead people. You know, he lost his baby brother, his biological baby brother, to my club, my former club. Yes, sir. And that was a tough one.
That's huge for you guys to be able to come together.
It's gonna be great, man. And I try so hard, brother. I'm a fallible human. So if you don't see perfection, it's to be expected. But I try my damnedest to represent Christ and to show love in the best way that I can, man. But it gets hard sometimes, brother. It gets hard when you have a lot of people that refuse the truth and believe the lies. And they're always constantly constructing different scenarios. Oh, well, maybe this or maybe that. Just take it for face value. There's no good that can come out of this when it comes to me. What? I'm not getting paid for this. My life's at jeopardy every day of the week. You want to talk about waiting for something, brother? My 10 toes have been down since I left since I left this club. Bro, they've been down since I started
Sounds like
hanging out with
before.
the
Sounds like they've been
bandits. So
down
I told
before you
people,
started.
yeah, I was like, there's no difference here. I'm not making myself any, it's not helping me any. It's helping you if you listen. If you listen, but it is what it is. You can't look, no matter what, I've come to understand that if the consensus is agreeing with you, you're doing the wrong thing. If there are mass people agreeing with you, it's not, it's a lie, bro. The truth finds itself in groups that are very, very small. Yep,
What did you leaving the club look like?
like this.
Can you walk me through when you finally gave in your patch and said I'm done?
I was supposed to do something bad the day before. I got tired of being a crash dummy. I always, hey, we'll never do this. You'll never do this. You'll never do this. You'll never do this. And then, um, I find myself when I said no, because I called the older brother and asked him, and that's when he asked me if it's God or the club, and I said God. I didn't. I was still called over there, so I agreed to go through with it. But at the end of the day, it ended up not panning out because the person I was with uh, was like, "Hold up, just wait." Um, and then I realized after that it was the last chance I had to be home with my family.
And do you tell them let's meet at the club? And do you give in your patch? Do you
Oh
say
no,
I'm
I called a
done?
prospect that was I was trying to mentor. He's now a bandit. He turned into a dork. I guess that stuff makes you feel like you got a cape on or something after you put it on. I don't know. But like people who aren't about that business feel like once they got the patch on, they're automatically about that business. It just didn't make any sense to me. But anyway, so he got like that. But I called a prospect, said, "Hey, come over," and I had all the stuff all ready for him. And he kind of like got shocked, and I said, "Just do everything the opposite of how I taught you."
And was he like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah, no, he couldn't. I mean, what was he going to speak to me? He wasn't going to. I mean, I wasn't like a known person to where you could speak to me sideways. It wasn't like that. I
Yeah.
wasn't constantly being disrespected, but no matter what people said, most of the people you're around just tolerate you, bro. Like I was a very tolerated person. That's about all. They knew I was real. I'd pop off for this, that, or the other. They knew I had a temper. They knew I was a loose cannon. So I think I was more annoying to anybody than actually really anything.
So
I didn't follow instructions. Let's just say that very well.
when you hand in your patches, do you get a phone call soon after?
I got a text saying, uh, "You're safe. Go be with your family." I took that as a threat. So here we are.
Now, what does your future look like?
I want to be in heaven with the Lord. That's the only future I care to see. I want me and my family to be with Jesus forever and to spend eternity with no more tears, no more pain or sorrow, and to be set free from the life of bondage that I've lived for a long time now. But I guess in an earthly way, I want to be at peace. I want to bring as many people to that place I was just telling you about as possible. People are tired of fake. People are tired of these evangelical preachers that tell people what they want to hear, and nobody has problems or issues, and everything's going to be okay. But sometimes they're just not. Sometimes they're real life situations, and you got to kind of walk through the fire, and sometimes you never come out. I'm not going to tell people what they want to hear, or that's going to be okay, or that things are going to get better. Maybe they get worse. But at the end of the day, what I want for this life is to prepare people for the next one.
Do you regret joining the club?
You ask your question. You answer your own question, Stacks.
So let me rephrase it. You regret joining the club is a statement, right?
Well, thank you for the laugh, bro.
There's probably someone right now watching this that's in the club that maybe they feel trapped. What would be your advice to that person?
You're a slave to something. So, I mean, if you want to be there, if you want to continue on in this, and you want to act like it's not causing you harm, pain, or everything's fine, go for it. I'm not going to force you. Just know you're a fool.
And how would you suggest someone that's in the club, if they want to get out, what would be the best way for them to get out?
Take your cut off and give it to your president, like a man. Give it to whoever. I don't care. Give it to the prospect, but do it like a man. Leave. You came into this freely, and you can go freely and accept those consequences. Because obviously there's going to be some, especially if you decide to speak on the hypocrisy and the truth. You ain't got to do this to leave. You could just go. If it ain't, you ain't about trying to pull anybody else out. But I've taken a lot of people with me, bro. Taken a lot of bandits with me.
People have left after
Quite a,
you left.
quite a few. Quite a few. A whole
Um,
chapter of support and multiple bandits.
Wow.
Yeah, and more to come. You know, God's not finished in their life, in a lot of these guys' lives, but uh, for some, it'll be the end of them, man. They might survive this year, but you know, bullets don't care who you are, what family you have. You know, if they need you, if they don't.
Other clubs have out in good standing, out bad. What's your status?
I would say it's probably bad. I mean, I'm guessing. I'm gonna throw that out there. It's probably bad.
I mean, do they, like when you were in the club, would they say that this person's out bad, no contact?
You're asking for the sake of well, yes, that's an out bad situation. Uh, for everybody, there's no such thing as good standings in the Bandidos. Not since I
So
left.
they can't retire. Like
No, there's
if
no
they
such
put
thing as retiring as a Bandito anymore.
really.
Correct.
So what do they do when someone's like 90 years old? They're still riding around on their bike.
They die, they get buried, and all their stuff belongs to the club.
Like when you're in the club, do you sign your bike to the club? Can they take your bike?
Correct.
Did they take your bike?
No.
So they don't take everyone's bike, right?
Well, if you want to give them to them, you can.
I know quite a few Hell's Angels that said, "Hell no, you ain't taking my bike. I'm keeping my."
Well, whenever they get that feeling in their body to come retrieve it, then come on. You
Man,
can't
you
kill
got
a
a
dead
wild,
man, brother. You can't kill
yeah,
a dead man.
you got a wild story, man. You got a lot of information, and we'll do this again. You got a lot of information to get out there.
Yeah, man. Well, I love you, brothers, if you're watching, and for all those of that don't know me, man, feel free to reach out. Like I said, I talk to every 1% club that represents in the United States now. I'm not going to go around saying your name, guys. I'm If you're looking for somebody who truly is not going to feed you lies and BS. I'm here for you, prospects, hang-arounds, people who are just inquiring about the lifestyle. Hit me up, and even people that don't like me, I don't care, man. If you got something to say and you're in the club, and you know, I'll talk to you too. Um, it don't matter. Hit me up. I guess on Instagram, the real Brandon Hantz. I'm on Instagram. You guys can come see me. I was on TikTok doing the TikTok thing. It was cool, man. For a second, I wasn't talking
Sunday,
about
it's gonna
clubs.
be gone.
Yeah,
Sunday,
I
no
wasn't. I
more.
wasn't even talking about club stuff. I was just talking about like I like doing news. Like I try to leave that life. You know what I mean? Totally have more peace of mind and just doing different things, man. So I don't do a lot of. I did speak at a church for the first time a couple days ago. I was invited out by a church to speak to the young people and to maybe the people in the church. So that was beautiful. It was wonderful. Felt like I was at home, you know, doing what I was finally finding a purpose, helping
Yeah,
people. So that was really cool. I enjoyed that experience. I'm just so not polished, bro.
no, you
I'm
do
rough.
YouTube. YouTube.
I'm I'm rough around the edges. Man. See, I did YouTube for a minute, man, but I get so down on myself when it comes to I've lived such a horrible life and I've made some really poor decisions that I just felt like I wasn't qualified to continue to give people advice. So it's been tough to stay on a righteous path for me. So I'm gonna continue to do my best and give God glory whenever I do something right, because it sure as hell ain't me doing it.
It's not about perfection. It's about being the best at whatever it is you can do, man. Doing
Yeah,
your best. It's not about perfection.
yeah.
That's for
We're
all
gonna keep.
the fakies on the internet claiming their lives are great and you know,
Yep.
and this
Keep on
world's
keeping on,
full of
bro. One step in front of the other, right?
definitely. Well, I look forward to speaking to you in the future and hearing more of your wild stories. I'll put a link for his Instagram in the description of this video. If you like this show, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can get my videos every time they drop. And if you don't like this show, too fucking bad. Start your own podcast. Peace.